Okay. I'd like to talk about how I designed this vignette with White River elements. When I started designing this vignette, I concentrated on the stove being the first focal point of this kitchen. And with this 36-inch cooktop, I started aligning the hood with it and also expanding to the two side pieces, including the row of drawers and the two pilasters here. As you can see, what I did was I pushed out this to create a detailing to line up with the stovetop, and this baluster fits into that, and the scale of the width in relation to the height gives it more substance, making it look like a piece of furniture. Anytime I design a piece of cabinet for a kitchen, I try to incorporate elements, carved elements like this right here, the corbels, the crown molding, to make it look like a piece of furniture. So on the lower section, what I did was two things. A, I did the two pilasters on either side. B, I opened up the shelf. Instead of putting doors and drawers here, I did an open shelf, giving me another opportunity to use these two corner onlays to make this look again like a piece of furniture. You can incorporate pottery in there, or even copper bottom pots and pans to make it look functional, at the same time giving it visual beauty. On the side here, instead of using two drawers and two doors, I made these long drawers, and again, this makes it look more like a piece of furniture. So therefore, this pilaster and this piece is the mirror image of the other side, creating one beautiful piece of furniture. On the upper section, what I did was a number of things. A, made the hood look really important. You can see I went all the way up to the ceiling. I did a double piece crown molding on the top of that, and then the lower part of it is picking up the same type of definition, same scale as the upper part. So we have a piece of crown wrapping around with this egg and dart detailing, and then obviously this beautiful valance combining this together, creating a small rosette in the middle of it. A perfect opportunity to use beautiful tile here, or doing marble mosaics. And then obviously these two corbels are really critical to the overall look of it, because back hundreds of years ago, when you would do a hood or some type of hearth, you would need something structural to support it. Obviously, this is not supporting the hood, but it is giving you the illusion of that. Very critical. If you take a look at the size and the scale of this, it's the perfect proportion. If it would have been too big, it would have been oversized. Too small, it wouldn't have matched the proportion of the overall piece. The two side cabinets are really important because instead of running these exactly the same depth of 12 inches, I jogged this out to 15, left that at a standard 12, and it was an opportunity to use the crown molding to jog it out to give that more importance and definition. And that detailing on top also coordinated with this detailing on the light valance. Many times when you're doing a kitchen, you're incorporating light here. You need to cover that. So it's a perfect opportunity. Instead of using a regular nose molding here of 1.25 inches, I had the opportunity to use a carved piece here. Therefore, having continuity with the lower and upper part of this, and at the same time making sure that these two are matching the elements on the top of this cabinet as well as the top of the hood. Overall, the piece and the objective for a designer is, how am I going to make this look like a piece of furniture? And what you need to do is you need to start from your appliance and start building out. Using detailing like this to give it substance, ground it to the floor. You can see I did a base molding around this to give this more importance, to give it more visual weight. At the same time, also the opportunity to use this as an element to jog out and give it a different point of interest. This baluster is a great representation of how to use an acanthus leaf and a simple swag to create a very elegant detail. It can be used in a classical element, and also can be used in a Tuscan element, in that you have a simple face here and you have beautiful detailing here without overpowering with too much carving on the fascia of it. This baluster can be used two different ways. The way that this is done is you have a floral front and back and the swag connecting. So you can use the floral on the face, or you can turn this around, put the flowers on the sides, and then sweep that swag across this way, creating two different elements with one corbel. Actually, this baluster here can be used a number of ways, either flat application, could also be used as an island just standing by itself. This element over here, if you can see, the way that I did this, I used the size of this and didn't go too far away from the edges. So it does look like it's hand carved right into the face. So you can see the distance from here to here is about 1 inch. I tried to keep the same all the way around. Obviously, the biggest mistake that designers do is they use a big face on it and a very tiny onlay. So there's a lot of space in between it. This is beautifully nestled in there, and it matches the wedge of this arch. Same thing is shown on the other side. And you can see this detail here is also picked up by this OG edge around it. So instead of cutting this flat, that extra detail is a place where you can get the glazing to accentuate that detail, and also picking up some of the detailing here on that side of that onlay. You can see this fascia on this hood has beautiful fruits, and at the same time you have tomatoes there and pears. Again, this is very typical of what you would see in Sicily or southern France. Typical of that region because those are the bread baskets of those countries. And you can see the way that this is used. We tied it up to the front frieze board using a two-piece molding on it. So there's continuity from one element to the other element there. And you can see this element here, again, is picked up lightly here with it, with this beautiful lower section here. Very different than what other corbels are on the market. You know, very avant-garde as far as detailing and definition, making something very unique and special. Also, the definition here on the light valance is picking up what we have as the acanthus leaf on the top of this crown molding. And again, you can see that this element here is used beautifully. Instead of using just a nosing of 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, we're able to use this detailing, still being able to cover a light fixture that would be mounted underneath. On the top of this crown molding, a great thing to do when you're using cabinetry is jog it out. So this way you could have the crown molding splayed on two sides, accentuating the cabinet. So you can see as you're pushing this cabinet out, those two corners are mitering on a 45, you know, creating a beautiful detail and definition. One important element when you're installing crown molding is take a look at the crown molding, and based on the size of this cabinet, those leaves were split perfectly right in the middle to create a great crown detailing, as if a carver was carving it right in place. So again, when you're setting that crown molding up, you want to make sure that both of those corners are breaking exactly on the same point. Centering that molding in the middle of the door, making sure that those two miters are breaking exactly at the same point.